morning, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Conscious Straight Talk with Katie and Lindsay. As you can see, Katie is not with us today. She is really sick again, so I'm hoping it's not COVID. She's off getting her test right now. But I wanted to come and talk to you real quick about trauma bonding. It is such a huge topic right now. I know not many people are talking about it or realizing what it is, and that's why we need to talk more about it. I'm Lindsay. I'm the mama behind MalibuMamaLoves.com, and I'm also a conscious certified trauma-informed life coach. So today I want to go over trauma bonding with you guys because I've been hearing more and more stories in my support groups of people saying, oh, I don't understand why I'm feeling this way and I'm experiencing this emotion and that emotion, and I'm just like, Google trauma bonding. And I try to share with them about it. So what trauma bonding really is, it's an emotional bond with an individual that comes from reoccurring cyclical patterns of abuse. So, and also devaluation, and then the positive reinforcement that comes after that. It really creates very powerful feelings, and it's totally confusing. You don't understand. You're caught up in this moment and this person has hurt you, and all you can think about is being back with them and having them fix it. And that's really the sign of what the trauma bonding is when you are experiencing that. Like, he just or she just did this devastating thing to me, but they're the only person that can fix that for me. And you're caught in this really scary, awful, like confusing mix of emotions, not sure what to do, and you just fall back on old patterns. The abuse may take you by surprise a lot of times because, as we've been talking when we were talking about emotional abuse and sometimes even the physical abuse, it's so slow. And they start off with that honeymoon period and making you feel amazing, and they're so loving, and it's just insidious. It can take many different forms too. It's not just happening in a relationship between partners here. It can happen in hazings, in the Greek hazings. That can form a trauma bond to somebody when you go through such an extreme, whatever the hazing situation is, but these are your brothers and your sisters, and you need to be so close to them. It forms this emotional connection, right? It can happen in military training. It can happen between parent or child and caregiver, whatever that situation is, whether it's parent and child or aunt or uncle, whoever's taking care of the child. Kidnapping. You hear this a lot with kidnapping, the Stockholm syndrome. So, and this isn't me making this stuff up. This is science. This is happening, and we need to be more aware of these things. This is how cults kind of get in there with you, right? They create massive trauma bonds. The leader will create huge trauma bonds within people. Prisons, this happens a lot. We see this a lot in. And it really, at the end of the day, it happens because of our body's natural response to stress. Okay, when we become stressed, our sympathetic nervous systems kick into gear, right? And we've talked about that before. That's where that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode comes in. And it activates the sympathetic nervous system, which shuts off your ability for risk analysis. And that means like really being able to understand if you're at risk or what to do with that risk. And it also shuts off the long-term planning ability. So you're not thinking straight when you're trauma bonded. It creates, as we've talked before about the neural pathways in our brain, like those paths through the forest. It creates these neural pathways that make you start to feel this is normal, this roller coaster, this up here happiness, down here in just the pits. And it keeps going up and down. It's the positive reinforcement, and it just brings you back. These neural pathways, so they can be rewritten. And they're so important to be aware of how your brain is functioning when these situations happen. And that's why we need to talk about these things. So I want to share with you guys a few signs of trauma bonding, so you can kind of get a feeling for if this is happening to you in your relationship. So you're going to start showing signs of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And we have done many episodes on that. I'll put a link on that in the comments down below because it is so important to know and be aware. Because I know I had symptoms for a long time and now have CPTSD, but I didn't know what was going on with me until I started reading and learning about these things and finding community. You experience a strong emotional bond with somebody, with the person that's abusing you. Oftentimes you're not even aware of why. Like the relationship will move really fast. You'll sometimes make major life decisions really early on in the relationship, and that kind of forges that bond that makes you feel closer. And then the person will start slowly just dripping in with little insults here and there, putting you down, probably overwhelming you with the phone, causing you to lose other relationships with friends and family members. You become hyper-focused, like just completely focused on your abuser's needs and wants. Your whole life becomes wrapped around that. They often will deny the abuse. They'll deny the things that are going on. They'll rationalize it and say, oh, maybe you deserved it. It's very confusing. That's just the best word I can use to keep describing this. It's so confusing. They'll often do really small acts of gratitude, little acts of kindness or things you love, small little gifts that you become so excited for, but realistically, it's just like a tiny little thing. And your brain has been so accustomed and you so want that love for them that you accept it. You just agree with all of their points of view and you start really transforming and changing your life. And then you start perceiving anyone who kind of brings this up to you as like, no, you're the crazy one. But what's really happening within your brain is you feel like you're nuts. They get mad at you for responding to their abuses or disrespects, whatever it may look like. They rationalize and dissect it and then make you feel like it's you and you're the crazy person. And then you need their love. And if you don't have them, there's no one else. And it's just this emotional cycle of, I mean, it's like a roller coaster, a confusing roller coaster. You feel like you're going up and down, but you're also spinning around the whole way. So, if you're feeling any of this stuff, reach out. Finding the community and talking about it is really the best way to start healing, to start learning, to start growing. And on Monday, when Katie is back, we are going to have a conversation about the trauma bonding and what it actually really looks like. And we'll have like a little pretend conversation with each other just to give you guys a good feeling, because more people really do need to be aware of this. It's happening to so many of us. I've had it happen in several different relationships on a couple of different levels. And it is one of the toughest things to break, and it's heartbreaking. And, I know a lot of people, when they're hurt, they can just walk away, say, fine, done. You treat me like that, I'm out of here. And those people don't understand the opposite of that, where, okay, you hurt me, I'm really sad, but I'm so desperate for you to come and make it feel better. I'm going to sit here alone and isolate myself and cry and be upset and depressed and whatever else. And they're two different extreme responses. So it's important for those of us to realize that are going through the trauma bonds, why we're sitting home, why we're doing this to ourselves, and how it's been done to us, and how we can rework that. We can turn that pain into purpose. We do have so much value, and we don't deserve to be treated that way. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Katie, I hope you get better. We miss you. And we will see you guys on Monday, where we're going to have a lengthier discussion on trauma bonding. So I hope you'll join us, because it is an important topic and we would love to hear from you. Share with us in the comments. You can jump on in the live at any time. We would love to hear from you guys. So happy Friday. We'll see you soon.